What's up? It's Tony back with another episode of the It's Tony podcast. And the other day, I was watching the Anthony Bourdain show. I don't know why, I just came across it on Max. And one of the episodes he was doing in the Bronx, basically talking about the Bronx, like hip hop and the food and basically the culture in the Bronx. And in the episode, he was talking to Melly Mel. Melly Mel said something to me that I think was fire, and it's a part of the reason why I don't think I could fuck with a lot of the new hip hop artists.
As far as hip hop now, like as far as the music now, these guys are not trying to tell the story of their time at all. Okay, yeah, they popped a lot of bottles. Oh yeah, they had sex with a lot of women, and they drove a lot of expensive cars, and nothing else happened. But you would never know that it was a black president. You would never know that it was two wars. You would never know those things because it's not reflected in the music. And at some point, somebody was supposed to step up and make those songs.
Melly Mel was saying nobody at this point right now is talking about anything that's going on besides cars, clothes, money, and women. And to me, I think that is like, it's too easy. It's like the bar is too low. At some point, as the audience, as the consumer, we should want our artists to make meaningful music, make impactful music, try to make classic music that in 10 years you could go back and be like, you could tell your grandkids or your children or your nieces and your nephews, oh, here is such and such. If you wanted to hear what was going on during this time, this is who you would listen to. I feel like a lot of the artists right now, they won't be needed in the story of hip hop in 10 to 20 years because there will already be one artist that is able to explain everything because everybody is talking about cars, clothes, and money. So in 10 to 20 years, you will only have to go to the most popular artists of that time and they will be able to explain what's going on. They will be able to tell you how, oh, if you were rich, you had cars. If you was rich, you had clothes and you had all the girls. But what impactful was going on during this time? I'm not saying that all of our artists need to talk about something important, but there's a bunch of artists from not only New York, not only from Atlanta, not only from California. There's hip hop artists. They're all over the country. But everybody all over the country, majority of the hip hop artists are all talking about the same thing. At what point do we demand something more? Like, I don't know what's going on in Atlanta, but all I know is if you go to Atlanta and you have money, you're going to be the guy. All I know is if you go to California and you have the money, you're going to be the guy, or you're going to be that person. You're going to be able to get the cars, the clothes, and the money. I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. I don't know what is going on in the daily lives of people outside of New York based on the music. All of the music is telling me that get money so you could get cars, clothes, and hoes. Besides that, I don't know nothing that's going on. I don't know nothing serious that is going on. And I think that a part of being a hip hop artist is telling the stories of your daily life, telling the stories of what's going on in your surroundings. That's why I will always respect the Kendrick Lamars. And I'm not saying it to be a dick rider. I'm saying it because even if you're not from California, if you listen to Kendrick Lamar, you know that gang culture is prevalent in California. You know that even if you're not a part of a gang, you might have cousins, uncles, you might have people in your family that's a part of a gang, and their problems might end up your problems due to just y'all being related. And I appreciate that. I think that hip-hop artists are supposed to tell stories. I think that they're supposed to show and portray the things that are happening around them, besides everything that is happening on social media. Our hip-hop artists currently are not telling any stories. They are not showing us or telling us anything that are going on in the society. Right now, the only thing in hip-hop that is being portrayed is the glitz and the glamour of having money. We don't know what people feel like or what people aspire to be outside of getting money. We don't know a lot about people's journey into getting the money or the things that they had to do to get the money. All we know is, oh, I got the money. Now I could get the cars, the clothes, and I could get the women. That's whack. That's boring. That is not what hip hop is about to me. That is not what I want my hip hop to be. And I'm not saying every single artist is doing that. Of course, there are a few artists that are telling stories, but most of the mainstream artists are all doing the same things. For instance, Ice Spice came out with an album. It is 10 songs long and it's 23 minutes. In those 23 minutes, you don't hear nothing about what New York feels like. You don't hear nothing about how she felt growing up or anything. You don't hear no story about her. You don't hear about nothing that impacts her. All you hear about is gra gra boom, having money, having a nice body, and being that girl. Besides that, you would think in 10 to 20 years, you would think if you give that to anybody that's younger than you would just be like, what made her so popular? That these songs were catchy? She's not telling no stories. And it's a even more slap in the face that she believed that she was able to just give us a 10-song album that was 23 minutes. She believed that that's cool. She believed that people are supposed to critique that and applaud her. That is trash. The bar is so damn low. And then when the old heads come and talk about the state of the culture, talk about the state of hip hop, people get mad. But then you have people like Ice Spice that give you bullshit albums that are 23-minute long, that are 23 minutes long, talking about the same thing over and over. The only thing that they're trying to do different, just a little bit, is their sound. They're trying to say the same shit that they're saying over and over with a different sound. And I'm not trying to say Ice Spice is the only one that's doing that. I'm just using her as an example because her album just came out. That album was mid. Then you have Lil Yachty, a person that is supposed to be the face of the new school, a face of new artists, and at one point was the face of mumble rap. You have him being able to give his opinions and basically teach the next up and coming artists how to be artists in this hip hop culture. But in his music, he's doing the same thing that I said Ice Spice was doing. Making the same type of music, not telling no stories, but just trying to change the sound. And then he has a podcast where he interviews new up and coming artists or interviews different people. And he is able to give his opinions on hip hop, give his opinions on many of things, but he does not study none of the things that came before him. He's able to be essentially a hip hop journalist, because his podcast is basically centered around hip hop. He's able to be a hip hop journalist, but doesn't study nothing before him, and his music is not helping hip hop for the future. But then when anybody critiques him, niggas are quick to say that the old heads are haters. That's why I understand the Melly Mel's, the Joe Buttons, the people before that critique what's happening now. Because the people that are speaking on hip hop now, the people that are making hip hop now, they are whack. They don't study. They don't try to be different. They do lackluster shit. The bar for them, they do the bare minimum. The state of hip hop is terrible, but it's terrible because the consumers of hip hop just allow anybody into it, and they allow anybody to profit from it. The people that are currently profiting off of hip hop are not doing any work. I don't understand. To go back to the Yachty thing, I don't understand how you can profit off of hip hop but not go back and dig in the crates or just go to Apple Music. It's right there and listen to an album by an artist that basically paved the way for you. Jay-Z is one of the biggest artists. He's one of the greatest rappers ever. And you never listened to two of his most important albums until 3 days ago, you said? How? I'm not saying that you have to like it. I'm not even saying that you have to play it more than once. I'm just saying you could have skimmed the album. Hip hop is good enough to feed your family and make you everything you are, but it's not good enough for you to go and do some research in history and study it. These are the artists that are supposed to continue to create history and push hip hop forward, but they don't even go back before them to listen to music. I don't agree with some people that's saying, oh, if you weren't born during this time, you don't have to listen to it, or we shouldn't ask you about hip hop before you. No, if you're profiting from hip hop, you should do some research. It is not hard to do. I'm not saying to have a great take about it. I'm not saying that you have to listen to Reasonable Doubt or the Black Album and love it. Honestly, I listened to Reasonable Doubt and the Black Album and Illmatic and It's Dark But Hell Is High. I listened to those albums, and I'm not saying any of those albums are better than any of my favorite albums, but I listened to it. And I understand that when you go back and you listen to those albums, you can tell, you can hear what was going on before you. And that's why I understand why they classics. That's why I can never say that Jay-Z is overrated or Nas is overrated or DMX or Biggie or Tupac. I can never say they overrated, because when you go listen to their albums, you hear storytelling, you hear good rapping, you hear good flows, you hear everything that's way better than now. That's why I don't understand when people in my generation or younger than me, or maybe even a little bit older than me, I don't understand when they diss the 90s or hip hop before them. I understand that we may feel that they gassed the 90s, but they gas it for a reason. The stories that were told back then, and how you could go back and listen to it and you can visually see those stories, they are better than what's happening right now. Technology may be better. It may be easier to make money for a lot of people right now. But the storytelling from back then in hip hop to now in hip hop is way better. Way better. Way more in depth. It's what I wish some hip hop artists right now would do. And the only thing you could do is compare it to when they was doing it the best, and that is in the 90s. And the only way that you can see how hip hop is such in a terrible space, like Little Yachty said, is to look when it was in a great space. And when you listen to Reasonable Doubt, you listen to any of those albums back then, you see that they were doing something that we are not doing, that we are not capable of doing. They know how to tell a story. And in my opinion, I love a good story, bro. Since you was a little kid, you fell in love with stories. Why the fuck was our parents telling us bedtime stories? Or why were people so in love with being in a circle and campfires and telling stories? Because you can imagine what's going on. What will the kids in 30 years be able to say about this time? And as a hip hop artist, would you like what they will be able to say about this time? If anything, I think this time is going to be the most overrated time. Oh, y'all niggas are just talking about ass shaking and about women and cars and clothes. That's all y'all was talking about. We could skip y'all time in history. Y'all niggas ain't saying, y'all not talking about nothing impactful. We don't know what's going on during y'all time. In my opinion, I don't think that's a bad take. We ain't talking about nothing. One of the most popular artists of our time just put out a 10-song album that is 23 minutes, and she isn't talking about anything. And the shit that she's talking about, she's not even doing it in a creative way. And then we have another person that is supposed to be a face of the newer artist. He's just saying any dumb take. He's just looking like a person that's just a part of something and not doing no homework, not studying, not reading. Like, niggas just make us look bad. And that is why I understand when the old heads talk about the newer niggas. That's why I don't think that a nigga like Joe Budden was a hater when he was barking on Yachty. I think that he was trying to enlighten him. And that's why I understand when the older niggas come talk about now and say, yo, we did all this work for y'all to just come and just talk about, oh, I rapped, now I have money. What? And it's not about saying that y'all can't have fun. It's just about saying everything don't have to be just about fun. On those albums that Yachty said he didn't listen to until 3 days ago, Jay-Z's talking about having fun. He's talking about money. He's making bops. But he's also talking about what's going on during that time. Outside of just money, cars, clothes, and hoes. At no point Are any of the most popular people going to talk about something more than cars, clothes, and hoes? Just a question. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend.